The crystal chandelier light catches my champagne flute, throwing prisms across my black cocktail dress. I shift my weight, patent leather heels sinking into the plush carpet of the grand ballroom at the Kansas City Plaza Hotel. Around me, the city's business elite mingle in their finest, their laughter echoing off marble columns that have witnessed 50 years of Mitchell Freight celebrations. My mother steps to the microphone, pearls gleaming against her silver hair, the same pearls she wore to every company milestone since 1975. I remember playing with them as a child, sitting under her desk in the old freight office while she balanced the books. "Welcome, everyone," she says, her voice carrying that hint of Texas that 5 decades in Kansas City never erased. "Tonight we celebrate not just record revenue of $180 million, but a new chapter in the Mitchell family legacy." My fingers tightened around the champagne stem. Pride wells up. This is my moment. 2 months of solitary work. The glow of my computer screen, the only light as I coded through endless nights. The routing algorithm that would revolutionize everything. The board of directors and I are thrilled to announce. Mother continues the appointment of our new chief executive officer. My heart quickens. Finally, recognition of what I've created. Path. Link isn't just software, it's the future of logistics built from the ground up. While everyone else was stuck in 1990s thinking. Please join me in congratulating our new CEO, Blake Mitchell. The crystal stem nearly snaps in my grip. Applause erupts as my brother strides forward, all confidence in his tailored suit. Blake, who couldn't code his way out of a digital paper bag. Blake, who spent more time on the golf course than in the office. Blake, whose greatest innovation was switching from fountain pens to ballpoint, and we're pleased to announce Mother adds a $2 million leadership bonus to support his vision for our digital future. My vision, my future. My code. Running in every truck, every warehouse, every terminal. The system I built in my home office, surrounded by paper maps and Dad's old logistics manuals. The ones he taught me to read when I was 12. His blue eyes twinkling as I found patterns in the shipping lanes that even he had missed. Additionally, my mother's voice softens with that PR polish. We thank Lauren for her technical assistance with the computer upgrades, technical assistance like I'd helped install a printer driver. Blake takes the microphone, manufacturing that humble smile he practices and mirrors. "I stand on the shoulders of giants," he says, nodding toward Mother. "The Mitchell name has meant excellence in shipping for 70 years. Today, we honor that legacy by embracing innovation." He stole my innovation with a smile and a brotherly pat on the back. "Great job on the programming," he said, then told me to step away from the business and our team. Claimed it's what Dad would have wanted. But Dad would have seen right through him. He would have recognized the months I spent testing every variable, perfecting every route. He would have known that his little girl, the one who used to memorize trucking regulations for fun, had grown into the woman capable of turning his legacy into something groundbreaking. Cameras flash. Reporters scribble down the fairy tale of the Golden Boy's rise. My colleagues avoid my eyes, suddenly absorbed in their drinks or their phones. They all know, everyone here knows, whose shoulders Blake is standing on. But I wear the Mitchell mask well. Back straight, smile steady, eyes bright. Mom taught us that. Never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you break. But in my mind, I'm already calculating. Running through scenarios like the algorithms I've spent a lifetime fine-tuning. There's a contract in my glove box, the one I never signed over. The documentation is backed up in 3 secure places. The copyright I registered long before a single line of code left my hands. They think they know the rules. Think they understand the game. I slip out of the celebration, heels tapping against the marble floor. The night air smells of autumn leaves and distant wood smoke. Behind me, the Plaza Hotel sparkles like a storybook castle, windows glowing with laughter and light. My phone is a weight in my clutch. One call, just one, could change everything. I slide into the driver's seat, pull up a number I memorized weeks ago, just in case. It started when I noticed how Blake lingered after my presentations. How Mom's smile faltered every time investors praised my work. "Julia Monroe's office." A crisp voice answers. "This is Lauren Mitchell," I say, my voice steady, stronger than I expected. "I need to speak with Julia about a copyright issue." Through the windshield, I see Blake by the window, holding court, champagne catching the light like liquid gold. Mom stands proudly beside him, her hand resting on his arm, just like always. "I'll connect you now," says the receptionist. I start the engine and leave the family celebration behind me. They wanted to play games with Legacy? Fine. Let's play. The next morning, the leather chair in Julia Monroe's office creaks as I sit. I spread out the documents across her polished mahogany desk, timestamps, development logs, copyright filings. The paper trail of the last 18 months of my life. Julia picks up a page, her tortoiseshell glasses reflecting the morning sun. "You registered the copyright before sharing a single line of code with Mitchell Freight." I nod. I learned from watching Blake take credit for my college internship project. My fingers trace the edge of the paperwork. I never thought he'd actually go this far. But I'm ready now. "Your brother knew." Julia interrupts before I can finish my sentence, sliding a printed email across the desk. "Look at the date." The Mitchell Freight letterhead blurs before my eyes. It's from 3 months ago. Blake to the board of directors, marked confidential. Lauren's technical assistance gives us plausible deniability while keeping full control over strategy. It reads, "She's just the tech girl. She won't challenge us." Those words sting, just the tech girl. My throat tightens. I remember every condescending pat on the back, every leave the business stuff to me, sis moment since I came back home. But it's my code that powers the entire system. I speak, voice raw. Every truck route, every warehouse operation, every delivery schedule. Tosslink isn't just software. It's what made their record profits possible. Julia takes off her glasses and looks at me directly. "You could shut it all down tomorrow." I nod slowly. The weight of that truth settles on my chest. 300 drivers. 800 warehouse workers. All their families. But my family didn't think about that when they stole my work. Julia taps a document. The board meeting minutes. I've arranged them chronologically. She points to a section. "See this? Discussions about minimizing L. Mitchell's role to protect core business interests. They planned this." "Lauren." My father's voice echoes in my memory. "Business is business, Lauren. But family, that's forever." I just wanted them to see my worth. The words escape before I can stop them, my voice cracking. The intercom buzzes. "Miss Monroe, Robert Gaines on line 2. I straighten. Robert, Dad's oldest friend. The only board member who ever asked about my work. The one who remembered my MIT graduation when Mom and Blake were too busy with the gala. Julia puts the call on speaker. Robert's familiar, gravelly voice fills the room. "Lauren, don't let them back you into a corner. I've watched you grow, from the girl who rewrote the loading dock schedules to save 10 minutes per truck to the mind behind Pathlink. What you've built is revolutionary." I exhale just a little. "You've seen the numbers. A 30% efficiency increase across the entire fleet. Blake can charm investors all he wants, but we both know whose vision delivered that." He pauses. "Thomas would have made you CEO the day you showed him your first successful test run." The familiar ache rises at the mention of Dad. Then it settles. "Thank you, Robert." After the call ends, my phone lights up with a message from Dr. Harrison, my old advanced algorithms professor at Carnegie Mellon. "Your Pathlink architecture is being discussed in grad seminars. Don't let anyone downplay what you've built." Then another message, a lunch invite from Mark, Sarah, and Wei from engineering. "We know the truth. Let's help." Julia watches me read the messages, her expression softening. "I've seen plenty of family betrayals in my career," she says, "but few clients ever held this much power." I extract my laptop from the briefcase, my fingers dancing rapidly across the keys as I navigate through system pathways. Network framework. I'm implementing a time-restricted security measure. Following 72 hours, the platform will demand my credentials to maintain functionality. Your mother will interpret this as a hostile act. No. I recall the pearl necklace adorning her neck during the charity event. The same one's father presented to her when our company first reached $1 million in earnings. The identical pearls she displayed while announcing to everyone that Blake merited recognition for my innovation. This is merely commerce. Later that evening, I labor in my home, encircled by shipping route forecasts and system interconnection charts. The proposal materializes into polished slides displaying ownership rights, records, technical blueprints, monetary consequences. My image in the dark glass appears more mature, more resolute. My device rests on the workspace, displaying Mother's contact image. The photograph from my university commencement, her embrace around my frame, satisfaction radiating from her gaze. Before my return home, before Blake entered the picture. Family tradition or individual honor, I murmur to the vacant space. The display fades to black. I shut my computer with a gentle sound. My decision is already made. I stride through the wooden double entrance of the Mitchell Freight conference room at precisely 10:17 a.m. 12 faces turn upward from their leather folders. Expressions locked in different degrees of astonishment. The Thursday morning executive gathering, hallowed time period since 1975, comes to an abrupt stop. Blake regains composure initially, creating the identical patronizing grin he displayed when I failed to win the middle school science competition. "Lauren, we're conducting business. My secretary can arrange an appointment. I suspect you're debating my creative property in my absence." My statement reaches every section of the chamber, controlled despite my racing heartbeat. My footsteps echo against the wooden floor as I move toward the table's head, the spot where Father once presided. Mother's pearls reflect the sunlight as she adjusts her posture. "Lauren, Elizabeth, this behavior is completely unacceptable." I place my computer on the glossy surface. What's unacceptable is appropriating someone's life's creation. My hand brushes the activation switch. Automatic response from countless evenings of programming. The display device awakens, projecting my documentation onto the wall behind Blake's position. Legal registration timestamp 3:42 a.m., September 12th. I progress through the presentation, development records spanning 18 months. Initial design blueprints. Interface prototypes. Another advance. And my preferred element. The security measure requiring my individual access every 72 hours. Blake's complexion pales as the consequences become clear. Robert Gaines, Father's longtime board colleague, shifts forward in his position. His metal-framed spectacles reflect light as he examines the technical details. "This cannot be genuine." Blake's tone breaks, the complete platform. Every code segment, every formula, every enhancement process that's preserving this organization, $500,000 monthly. I place my hands on the surface, allowing my stability to anchor me. "Did you genuinely believe I'd surrender everything without safeguards?" The conference doors open once more. Julia Monroe enters wearing her dark suit, a strategic demonstration. The legal documents create a satisfying sound as they're distributed to each board representative. "This is ridiculous." Blake rises, his seat sliding backward. "You would devastate your grandfather's heritage over pride, the enterprise he constructed from nothing." Grandfather established a transportation business. I created a technology enterprise. There's a distinction. The statement feels triumphant on my lips. And for clarity, I'm not the individual who attempted theft from relatives. Your father would feel disappointed. Mother's tone carries that gentle southern strength, the inflection that previously sent me to my quarters in distress. He valued family harmony above everything. Father instructed me to appreciate my worth. I meet her stare directly. "Something you overlooked." Between preparing Blake for an unearned position and relegating me to technical support, Robert speaks up, demanding attention as he has since my childhood. The legal documentation seems thorough, and if I'm interpreting these technical specifications accurately, we're facing potential daily losses of $500,000 without Lauren's approval. Whispers flow through the board members, papers rustle, concerned looks exchange between Mother and Blake. "Acceptable." Blake retrieves a payment book from his coat. $6 million in cash. "Depart, and leave the program with us." I chuckle, the sound cutting enough to slice. "This isn't concerning money. It's regarding respect. And since you clearly won't provide it willingly, I'll obtain it differently." I remove a detailed proposal for my case. Mitchell Technology, a subsidiary company concentrating on logistics, software development. Independent management. Separate ownership but organized licensing contracts benefiting both organizations. The quiet extends as I present my concept. Expansion beyond current markets, integration with self-driving vehicles, artificial intelligence applications that could transform the entire sector. When I conclude, even Mother's flawless posture has relaxed. The non-negotiable requirement. I rise to my complete stature. I serve as Chief Executive Officer. Complete strategic independence. The board may counsel, but ultimate choices remain mine. You cannot. Blake begins. Actually, she can. Julia's statement carries the authority of 2 decades in business law. And considering the copyright circumstances, it's either this or extended legal battles that would immobilize both companies. Robert stands, his authority commanding respect accumulated over 40 years in the field. I propose to vote on Lauren's suggestion immediately. Blake's grip closes around my forearm as board members initiate their deliberation. His whisper contains decades of sibling intimidation. This won't conclude, younger sister. I detach his fingers individually. My hold strong enough to cause him discomfort. You're correct regarding that. I retreat, adjusting my jacket. It's merely commencing. The elevated hands that follow feel like justice materialized. 8-4 supporting with Mother remaining neutral. Her expression stays unreadable as Blake exits angrily. But I detect something different in her gaze. Something resembling pride. I collect my laptop, Julia joining me as we move toward the exit. The morning sunlight flows through expansive windows, illuminating the brass nameplate on Father's former office. Soon it will display Lauren Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer. Not because someone granted it to me, but because I constructed something valuable enough to claim for myself. The elevator doors close on the boardroom behind us. Julia presses my shoulder. You performed well.
No.
I observe the floor indicators descending, recalling all the evenings I invested developing Pathlink. All the occasions I suppressed my pride as Blake received recognition. I accomplished exactly what was necessary. They simply never anticipated it. The following day, my access card malfunctions. The familiar green indicator remains stubbornly red as I stand before Mitchell Freight's glass entrance at 6 p.m., coffee cooling in my travel container. Through the lobby windows, Frank, the security officer, avoids my gaze, suddenly absorbed in his puzzle.
Perfect.
They moved quickly. I retrieve my device, capture an image of the unchanged nameplate beside my office entrance. Lauren Mitchell, Director of Technical Operations. The timestamp might prove significant later. My phone vibrates. A message from Aunt Margaret. Urgent family gathering tonight at Mother's. Blake claims it's essential everyone participates. Where are you? I respond back. Apparently excluded. 3 dots emerge, then vanish. Reappear. Finally.
Oh, dear.
The coffee tastes sour as I return to my vehicle. Behind me, the Mitchell Freight symbol catches the morning sun. The same curved M that decorated Father's initial delivery vehicle. The one he allowed me to operate while seated on his lap, my small hands on the steering wheel as we remain stationary in the warehouse area. My device illuminates again. Local business publication requests commentary on Blake's public statement regarding a family dispute over technical implementation. My deletion button receives extensive use. At home, I activate my laptop. 3 resignation messages await in my inbox. Sarah from engineering, Tom from systems design, David from deployment. Each professionally composed, each copying Julia, each a quiet rebellion. My phone rings. Julia Monroe's identification appears on the display. Temporary restraining order submitted. She states without introduction. They cannot access the source code until ownership is legally determined. Blake's attempting to portray it as a technical disagreement. Naturally. Incidentally, Transcontinental Shipping contacted. They're interested in licensing Pathlink for their vehicles. The information strikes like an electrical jolt. Transcontinental. They're not family members.
Precisely.
Julia's satisfaction carries through her tone. Innovation communicates more effectively than bloodlines. A tap at my entrance interrupts my reply. Through the viewer, I identify Robert Gaines' silver hair. He's accompanied. I'll contact you later, I inform Julia. I open the door to discover Robert, flanked by 2 Mitchell Freight Board representatives. Carol Weber grips her designer purse like protection. William Foster's walking stick creates an anxious beat against my doormat. Lauren, Robert states, they wish to hear your vision. The genuine one, not Blake's interpretation. My living space transforms into an impromptu conference room. Carol and William settle onto my sofa while I display Pathlink's forecasts on my laptop. Their inquiries are precise, detailed. Their attention follows every element. 2 hours later, they depart with storage devices containing my complete business strategy. Carol squeezes my hand at the entrance. Your father always mentioned you recognized patterns others overlooked. The remainder of the week passes quickly. I secure a lease on a modest office location 6 blocks from Mitchell Freight. The walls emit the scent of fresh paint and potential. Julia's team manages the incorporation documentation for Mitchell Technology, while I conduct engineer interviews and compose client proposals. My phone remains silent on Thanksgiving. The invitation to Mother's customary dinner never materializes. My individual chicken soup tastes like childhood exile to the children's seating. Friday morning, I discover they've removed my photographs from the company website. The history section now jumps from Blake's college graduation to his first executive position. 32 years of my existence eliminated with several keystrokes. Blake's spouse, Ellen, sends a courteous message removing me from the Children's Hospital Benefit Committee. Considering the current situation, she writes, it might create discomfort. Aunt Margaret calls, voice trembling. Couldn't you simply accept the money Blake offered? Such a generous settlement. It's not about money. It's dividing the family. No, I respond, fingers touching the framed photograph on my desk. Father, and me troubleshooting his first computerized routing platform. The family accomplished that independently. The following day, the logistics conference arrives like salvation. I take the platform before 300 industry leaders, my hand steady on the lectern. Pathlink's demonstration flows flawlessly. The supply chain optimization charts draw amazement. When I finish, the applause begins slowly, then grows to a standing tribute. In the foyer afterward, investors gather like orbiting bodies, discovering their trajectory. A Reuters journalist calls me a logistics technology pioneer in her notes. My phone buzzes with professional networking requests. Blake's countermeasures become frantic in the following days. A legal notice claiming Pathlink builds upon proprietary Mitchell Freight code. A rumor campaign questioning my mental stability, reaching prospective clients. A clumsy server infiltration attempt that Tom identifies and prevents within minutes. The final board session approaches. Julia confirms the vote on my spin-off proposal will continue despite Blake's protests. Then Tom uncovers something intriguing. A secret development group Blake contracted attempting to recreate Pathlink from the beginning. They're failing miserably, Tom reports with barely concealed satisfaction. The morning of the vote, Robert calls. I'm addressing the board first, he mentions, about your father's philosophy on innovation. Robert. He understood Lauren. He knew you'd surpass them eventually. Said it was simply a question of when you recognized it also. On voting day, the vote divides evenly, 8-8, every face in the boardroom turning toward the table's head, toward Mother. She sits perfectly erect, her pearls shining under the fluorescent illumination, the same pearls she wore to every company milestone since 1975, the ones she once promised would be mine. Her hand rests on the voting card, perfectly groomed fingers creating an uncertain rhythm. The future hangs on the edge of her silence. The vote is even. Robert announces, his voice steady. He turns to my mother as chairwoman. The deciding vote belongs to Deborah. Blake shifts in his leather seat, tie perfectly positioned at his throat. A week prior, he attempted to influence 2 board members to vote against me. The smirk playing at his lips indicates he expects Mother's support as typical. She turns from the window. For the first time in my life, I cannot interpret her expression. I abstain, she declares. The word hangs in the atmosphere like thunder. Blake's smirk disappears.
What?
His voice cracks. Mother, you cannot. I cannot select between my children. Her Texas accent intensifies as it does under pressure. Not in this matter. Robert clears his throat. By company regulations. In case of a tie with 1 abstention, the majority of voting members succeeds. He straightens his documents. The motion succeeds. Mitchell Technology will be established as an independent organization. Blake's chair scrapes against hardwood as he stands. This is commercial suicide. His face reddens above his collar. You're permitting her to destroy everything Father built?
No.
The word emerges stronger than I anticipate. I'm constructing something new. Something father would have comprehended. I meet his gaze. You can either adjust or be left behind. He exits angrily, leaving the heavy boardroom door swinging. The silence stretches until Robert speaks again. Lauren, as CEO of the new Mitchell Technology, would you like to offer some remarks? I move to the window where my father used to stand. Below, morning traffic crawls along the plaza streets. A Mitchell freight truck waits at the signal. Its fresh paint gleaming. Soon it will operate my software. But under an equitable licensing agreement. No more stolen credit. No more being the invisible sister. We begin today. I state. I have the contracts prepared for both companies. The next hours blur into signatures and handshakes. My carefully selected team moves into the temporary offices I leased on the 20th floor. By sunset, Mitchell Technology has its first external client. A $30 million contract for PathLink integration with United Shipping. My phone buzzes throughout the day with industry congratulations. The logistics publications are calling it a seismic shift in shipping technology. I disable it during the evening meeting with my core development team. Only when I finally reach my apartment do I notice the empty chair at my kitchen table. The one where my mother used to sit for our monthly dinners. The invitation letter for my birthday next week sits unopened on the counter. I change into my old MIT sweatshirt and settle on the couch with Father's worn logistics manual. The pages fall open to his handwritten notes in the margins. Search for the patterns others miss, he wrote, beside a routing diagram. Trust your instincts. A knock at the door startles me. My mother stands in the hallway, still in her boardroom attire. The security guard permitted me up, she says. I hope that's acceptable. I step back to allow her entry. She pauses at the collection of family photographs on my desk. Father teaching me to read a map. Blake pushing me on a swing. Mother showing me how to balance books in the old office. Your father would be proud of you. Her voice catches. I should have expressed that sooner. Would he? The question escapes before I can prevent it. Even with everything that's occurred. She touches the frame holding Father's old business card. Thomas believed innovation was the heart of logistics. Not just moving items, but discovering better methods to move them. A small smile touches her lips. You're more similar to him than either of us realized. I swallow against the tightness in my throat. Why did you abstain? Because choosing sides would have destroyed us all. She meets my eyes. This way both companies can prosper. Different routes. Same family. It's not forgiveness, exactly. But perhaps it's a beginning. 6 months later, I stand at a podium accepting the Logistics Innovation Award. The crystal trophy catches the spotlight as I scan the audience. My core team celebrates from their table. Robert smiles proudly. Blake's chair sits vacant, but Mother is there in the front row. Pearls gleaming. I think of the framed code in my office. The first version of PathLink written in my apartment between midnight and dawn. The foundation of everything we've built. To everyone who helped create Mitchell Technology, I raise my glass. And to finding your own place at the table. Mother's eyes shine as she lifts her champagne. Different routes. Same family. Not perfect, but possible. I step down from the podium, trophy in hand. Through the ballroom windows, I watch a line of trucks pull away from the loading dock. Half bear the Mitchell Freight logo. Half the new Mitchell Technology emblem. All of them running my software under my conditions. Sometimes the most difficult part of a legacy isn't preserving it. It's knowing when to build your own. A year later, the morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting golden stripes across my mahogany desk. Kansas City awakens to another business day, but up here in Mitchell Technology's executive suite. I've already been working for 2 hours. A knock at my door breaks my concentration. Sarah, our lead developer, stands in the doorway, clutching a tablet. The Robinson contract just cleared legal. That brings us to $320 million in projected revenue. I lean back in my chair, letting the magnitude of the numbers sink in. A year ago, Mitchell Technology existed only in my dreams and documentation. Now, 24 people depend on us for their livelihoods. Have marketing update the client map. I gesture toward the wall display where glowing dots mark our presence across the country. Each point represents a company running PathLink. Their trucks guided by my code, through America's highways and back roads. Sarah hesitates. Blake's office called again. They want to schedule an integration review. Forward those requests to Robert. The words come automatically now, a practice distance. He handles all Mitchell freight coordination. After she leaves, my eyes drift to the framed printout hanging beside my window. The original Pathlink code. Hundreds of lines compressed into elegant efficiency. I'd printed it the night before that fateful gala, never imagining how everything would change. My phone buzzes. A reminder for lunch with Mother. These monthly meetings started 3 months ago, each one less awkward than the last. We stick to safe topics. Her garden club, my latest industry award, the weather. But yesterday she mentioned Father, the first time she spoke his name to me in months. The cafe we meet at splits the distance between our offices. Mother already sits at our usual table, reading glasses perched on her nose as she studies the menu. She's memorized. The salmon here is always excellent, she says by way of greeting. Same words every time. A small ritual that somehow makes things easier. I order coffee first. Buying time. The Logistics Technology Scholarship Committee meets next week. I thought you might want to be involved in the selection process. She looks up, surprise flickering across her face.
I'd like that.
A pause heavy with unspoken things. Your father believed education opened doors, especially for those who had to work harder to prove themselves. The words hang between us. In another life, they might have been a criticism. Now they feel like something else. Understanding, maybe. Back at the office after lunch, I lead the afternoon executive meeting. 20 years of watching Mother run Mitchell Freight taught me more than I realized. Stand straight. Project confidence. Listen more than you speak. But where she ruled through authority, I build consensus. When our sales director advocates for aggressive expansion, I turn to our operations lead. Susan, what resources would that require? She outlines the constraints clearly. And together we find the balance between growth and stability. Father would have appreciated that. He always said transportation was about rhythm, not speed. The day winds down, my team heading home as city lights begin twinkling awake. I should leave too. But these quiet moments pull at me, the gentle hum of servers, the faint coffee smell that never quite dissipates. The way the sunset paints the western windows. My reflection overlaps the Mitchell Technology logo etched in glass. Beside it, I've hung the original Mitchell Freight emblem, the one that decorated Father's first truck in 1975. 2 circles intersecting, past and future, sharing common ground. A text lights up my phone. Blake, responding to the quarterly numbers I'd sent through Robert. Solid performance. Father would be impressed. 5 words. Our longest direct communication in months. I start and delete 3 responses before settling on. Thank you. Some wounds heal slowly. Others just scar over, becoming part of who you are. I trace my fingers over the framed business cards on my desk. Father's worn Mitchell Freight card beside my crisp Mitchell Technology one. Different paths. Same determination to build something lasting. The night deepens outside my windows. Below, headlights trace patterns through downtown streets. Each vehicle following its optimized route thanks to the code I created in solitary determination. The same determination that drove Father to start with 1 truck and a dream of something bigger. Looking at the 2 logos, I finally understand what he tried to tell me that last Christmas when I worried about finding my place in the family legacy. The best inheritances, he'd said, adjusting his worn Mitchell Freight cap, are the ones you build yourself. I gather my things, ready to head home. The motion sensors dim the lights behind me, but the city's glow keeps the logos visible, old and new, in perfect balance. Some inheritances aren't given. They're claimed. I claimed mine, and looking at the growing constellation of lights on our client map, I know I've built something worthy of the name Mitchell. Something uniquely mine, yet connected to everything that came before. Something that will outlast all our old hurts and open doors for others like me who dare to write their own stories.